Kia ora, ko whasmitaho. Ngā mai ki te whare, welcome to the House. The laws being considered in Parliament that are heavily covered by the media are generally the most contentious, the most impactful, or the most far-reaching, with special emphasis on the most contentious. Unsurprisingly, bills that everyone likes get very little attention. Bills that have scant impact receive scant love, and bills with a geographical reach that's negligible get about that much coverage. But sometimes Parliament manages the triple whammy and debates a bill that everyone agrees on, but which has negligible impact and is incredibly specific.
Madam Speaker, it is with a deep sense of gratitude that I rise today to speak on the third and final reading of the Auckland Harbour Board and Takapuna Borough Council Empowering Act Amendment Bill. Madam Speaker, this is a moment we have all been waiting for.
It's easy to presume that because Parliament is very powerful, then the things it does are all inevitably big and important. But sometimes they're very much not.
Madam Speaker, it's a simple bill, it's a common sense bill, it's a local bill. Now, first of all, this bill is a very specific bill. We all know that it's focused on one building, the historic Takapuna Boating Club building at 17 Sir Peter Blake Drive, Bayswater. And what a name for an address.
This is most likely for two types of bills under discussion, those called local bills and the even more specific private bills. Those are bills brought to the House by any MP that have a very specific impact. Local bills have a geographical impact, while private bills deal with a specific organisation, group, trust, charity, church, or even a specific person. Sometimes the debates on those bills could be mistaken for a lacklustre political spoof.
My caucus has come to refer to this bill as the Takapuna Ice Cream Bill. And the club would be a great spot to take the family on an afternoon for an ice cream or maybe a coffee.
That was from Wednesday evening at Parliament, when the House spent more than an hour on third reading speeches for a bill with an encompassing name, the Auckland Harbour Board and Takapuna Borough Council Empowering Act Amendment Bill. It was riveting stuff. The MP in charge was National's Simon Watts.
The core of this bill is its ability to loosen these restrictive conditions and allowing for commercial uses while ensuring the principal use of the land remains for community purposes.
Fixing a problem with the ongoing costs and rental income for a community asset is a commendable thing. But why, you might very well ask, does fixing such a local issue need to be debated and passed by the House? It's a fault of history. History has a lot to answer for, after all.
It is important that while we preserve the community purpose, we don't pass a law that ends up being too restrictive in the future, meaning another North Shore MP, Madam Speaker, in 100 years from now, will have to come back and lament on old laws that we're doing right now.
The thing is that local government organisations, or just local organisations, are sometimes brought into being or empowered or had constitutions enacted under specific legislation, just for them. And that includes many things like clubs or churches or amenities and charities, even patches of bush or parks. That used to happen a lot more many years ago, but it still occurs and more often than you might imagine. Often they nailed things down so tightly that over time it inevitably caused issues. And for each of those organisations, be it the Boy Scouts or the old Takapuna Baths, if they want to do something differently, they have to get Parliament to amend the original law. The bill that was finalised on Wednesday was amending an act that was wider than many, but it included very specific rules for this one building. Many private bills, especially, just fix archaic legislation, and they do so by fiddling with the original law, rather than, say, by repealing it and starting from scratch. But in the meantime, they give the MPs a debate that is refreshingly amicable and without the layers of import and consequence. When there's very little at stake, it can almost be fun.
And I would suggest to the member, Mr Steve Abel, who spoke before, that on top of Mahjong, there might even be a venue where he might be able to play some of his famous songs that he composed when he was a famous New Zealand folk singer.
One never knows where their endorsements might come from.
And I suspect when this third reading is finished, Madam Speaker, that the Honourable Simon Watts will be going down Lake Road at the weekend to a similar ticker tape parade.
The National Party MPs were also trying to make this debate last as long as possible because they weren't in favour of some of the members' bills coming up afterwards. But governing party MPs get very little exercise at speaking in the House.
Well, the member Cameron Brewer did well to remain on his feet for 9 minutes and 48 seconds, but it came at a terrible human cost. Those of us in the House this afternoon we are the living evidence of that.
You've been listening to The House. It's a whakarongo koe ki te whare. This program is produced with funding from Parliament's Office of the Clerk. Mā te wā.